Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful week, a wonderful day. So, welcome back to Financial Hub. Welcome back to another analysis here we have for another week. Today's Wednesday, so Wednesday we'll do a recap of the market we're looking at on Monday. I think I looked at about 3 pairs on that day, including the dollar index. And then, so today I'll do a recap, show you what trades I have, what trades I don't have. I took a trade on Monday on Dow Jones. I'll show you the reason behind that and how I came out of that trade. And currently, I'll show you a trade I have running at the moment. So that's it from me. Welcome back to today. Let's analyze the market. So I'll start with my basic main analysis, the ones I normally do. Dollar index. I'll look at Aussie dollar. I'll look at USD CAD. But at first, let me first show you the reason why I entered a short on Dow Jones. So as usual, I'll do the analysis, finish off, then I'll allow Ken to take over, and then we'll end it there for today. So there we go. So let me share my screen. What are we looking at today? There we go. So I hope you can hear me. I hope I'm loud and clear, and I hope you can see my screen. If you have any questions, please ask in the chat room. We'll be sure to answer at the end of the video and then move on. So I'll start with Dow Jones. Look at the trade I had running the other day. So currently Dow Jones has really been consolidating around here. For those people who do not know Dow Jones, this is a index. So index meaning it has a couple of stocks in one basket, and then they get an average mean of where the market will be trading. So these are the top 30 US companies in the United States of America. So what I'm looking at, so these were all-time highs last year, okay? So after this market came up and topped at this level, we crashed all the way back down to this level, and then market has come back to this point, okay? So once we came to this point, market broke up to new highs, okay, this year, but not with much momentum. So we're at new high territories, and market has sort of been consolidating like this. We got this breakout retest to this level, okay? So we had a retest to this level, market shot up, then we came back down, got a retest again. So that's what has been happening. If I go to the 1 hour chart, what we're basically seeing is this sort of pattern. So this is what we have. Let me just zoom it in. So what was I looking at on Monday? Monday, starting off the day, market really fell, okay? So let me use my replay bar to back to this level where I got my long entry. So this is just to show you so that you can learn how we normally trade here. So I was basically looking at this flag. So you can see this flag formation. So market was having that support level, and when market was coming back to that level, it came down, had that retracement, came down, retracement, came down, and then once you go to this level, market started consolidating again. So whenever you see such, you just take some risk, and because if market is able to break below this level and close strongly below this level, then market can really drop. But before that, you want to be optimistic that the market will continue further up and continue moving higher. So I had a small risk on this one because I was just watching. If market is able to break below this, I want to be quickly in and out of this market. So what happened? Slowly market started moving upwards. So Monday was a good day. Market was moving up. We had that break of this sort of market fell back in. And yesterday when Powell was testifying in front of Congress and all about inflations and all that, the people who became a bit risk averse wanted to come out of the market because of a bit of uncertainties about the inflation in America. And what happened is that market really dropped over here. So luckily at that point, I'd already, once market had this move to the upside, hadn't yet reached my target. My target was a bit higher, so around this level. I'd already broken even on my trade, so my trade was running risk free, and market came quickly down. So during this moment is when I came out of the trade at break even. So that's how I had that trade. That's how that trade was running. Currently I'm not having any trade on this one. You can see we had that spike to the downside, then we had that move quickly back up to the upside, and that is where we are currently trading. So as long as if market is able to break this support, you can see the support acted again very, very strongly. If market is able to break and close below it, is when we'll see this market really dropping. But before that, as much as we're still above this level, you can still see market rally. But if you look at the daily chart, I believe there's a short coming really, really soon on this one. You can see this pattern that's forming this sort of a wedge-like formation, and when we normally have such, a market can really drop. So at this top level, you also don't want to be buying aggressively. So I don't have a really strong bullish entry on that one. You don't want to be buying. You want to be looking for such levels like this one to buy aggressively once market has dropped like this. But at this level, market, yes, can move to the upside, but you want to be trading in the direction of the trend, but not as heavily. What goes up must come down, and market over here is showing some signs that market might really drop. So if market is able to spike maybe this level, you can see the market falling quite strongly back down. With that said, what am I looking at on Aussie dollar? So Aussie dollar had a very good bullish run this whole of February. So since February started, this market has been having that bullish momentum. You can see this level. We came and broke this liquidity level after being retested a couple of times, got that strong bullish close, and now market is moving further up. If you remember on the weekly chart, we're still targeting those levels. Let me get rid of this. So if you remember on the weekly chart, I covered this on Monday. Once market pushes further up, okay, let me just zoom this out for you to see clearly. So this level, so you can see this trend line, first touch, second touch, third touch. I'm waiting for now market. You can see currently this trend line, market has been really pushing, and I've been talking about this trend line for the past since last year, and that's the level where you want to start being taking bullish profits and starting being sort of bearish, because you can see with all this bullish momentum, we haven't had any significant, apart from this time over here, we haven't had any significant correction. So once market gets to this level over here, you want to be quite bearish. So if I go down to the daily chart also in line with that weekly analysis. So weekly analysis, they're very much in line. You can see I'm expecting market to come all the way to this level. If I can just a sec. So I'm waiting for market. These are the levels, okay? So these are the levels I'm aiming, 0.8, 100, 8, 200 before we get any significant shots. Yes, along the way we might get correction. I don't mean that market will go in one leg and just go all the way to that level. Like currently, I'm paying attention to this pattern that's forming here. We'll go down to the hourly chart and see. So after this bullish run, we got this sort of doji formation. This was yesterday's close. Today, market hasn't yet closed. We're not yet even halfway done during the day, so I'll wait for this pattern to see what will close. Maybe we might get a bit of correction back to this level before market shoots further up. If I go to the 4-hour chart, you can see, so what I'm normally looking at, let me get rid of this. So what I'm looking at on the 4-hour chart, I have another channel. So there are many things in line for this market to really go and target this level, 0.81 level. I'm very bullish on this one, but currently what am I watching? There's a pattern that's forming over here. So you can see ever since market started this bullish run over here, and this is the bullish run we got, that we ran all the way with it until around this region over here where we took profits. I was expecting market at least to correct a bit, but we got that strong bullish momentum last week on Friday, and market has really been pushing further up. So what am I watching? What you want to pay attention to at the current level, okay? So you can see these sort of patterns. You can see these lines I've drawn. Why have I drawn them? So what I'm paying attention to is how are we forming new higher highs and higher lows. So currently I'm paying attention to the candlestick formation. So why I have this arrow is because you can see this when market was moving up, we got this resistance level, so sort of a psychological level. Market fell down, then we came and strongly broke above, market was falling down, came back and retested that level. That's why I have this arrow drawn over here. So that's just, when I have these red ones, they're mostly psychological levels. They're not very strong resistance or support levels. What happened again? Market shot further down, we came back up, we were breaking this previous high, okay? So while we were breaking this previous high, market did not even go so far, and market, instead of retesting it, market has fallen back below. So when I'm seeing such, I normally know there's a certain pattern forming around this region. Okay, so you can see this whole region, it normally indicates there's a pattern forming, and normally now that's just a top-down analysis. I'll go down to the 1 hour chart and look at what pattern is forming. When I go to the 1 hour chart, I'm seeing sort of a channel like formation. So you can see very clearly this was a beautiful channel like formation, parallel lines to one another, first touch, second touch. I was actually expecting this market to come and strongly touch this level before getting that drop. So with this one, I'm also sort of expecting, before market continues with the direction of the trend, which it might continue, there can also be a short correction, at least to down to this level, before we get that bullish momentum to go further up. As I was saying, I was expecting a third touch above here. Market didn't really get it. We got this drop that started earlier on today morning. I was dead asleep at that time. It was at around 3 a.m. 4 a.m. when this market started dropping, and now we're yet to see how market will react to it, because that was the Asian session. I'm yet to see how the Londoners will react to this market after watching this pattern. So that's what I have on that one. New Zealand dollar, if I go to the 8-hour chart or daily chart, because I have a trade running on this one. Actually, let me start with the weekly chart. This is the last pair I'll show you for today, then I'll leave the floor to Ken to show you the rest of analysis he has. So weekly chart, you can see, just like this is an antipodian pair, just like Aussie dollar. They're both antipodian pairs. They normally move in the same direction most of the time. So what am I paying attention to? We are getting into a region where we'll be looking mainly for shorts and bullish people to take profits. And why is that? You can see this support resistance level. I have this first green one, which acts as a strong also resistance level, and I have the blue line as well, which is also a resistance level if market is to spike up above. Okay, so currently I'm watching how market is reacting to these levels. You can see previously over here, market was reacting to these levels and really dropping, and currently we are back to that region, and I think we'll have some shorts coming very soon, just like Aussie dollar. Same thing happening. So you can see these bullish candlesticks. We've had only one red candlestick, bearish candlestick during this whole bullish momentum. Ever since November, we haven't had any significant correction on this one. So I believe where market is right now, market might start getting some correction, and we'll see the market fall. You can see top here I've written 0.74 or 0.75. that region around there is a good target both for bulls to take their profit and for bears to get an entry. I don't think market will strongly break above this level before it gets some correction. So that's on the weekly chart. If I go to the daily chart, what we're basically seeing is that the market is sort of we're having this, just like the Aussie dollar. Market has some room to the upside. You can see with this pattern, sort of like a wedge like formation. So I still expect market to go and continue this formation. You can see I've written over here, I still expect this market to continue rallying to levels in line with the weekly chart. So if market is able to go above to this level, I expect market to continue up above. But currently I'm running a short trade, which is not quite advisable to do at the moment, because what I'm just watching is that before market rallies up, okay, I normally don't heavily trade against the trend because the trend is normally quite strong, but there could be a possible sell-off to this correction level. Get some liquidity at this level before market rallies all the way up to those targets we'll be looking at. And if market is able to short back to this level, I'll be looking to go long around this region. So if I go down to the 4-hour chart, to the 1 hour chart, to see what pattern is forming. So sort of like as I said, Aussie dollar and Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar sort of move in tandem with one another. Today morning we had these massive spikes because of the interest rates that were happening in New Zealand. They maintained their interest rates at 0.25%. So what am I watching on this one? Basically, this is just a simple channel formation, first touch, second touch. Expect some resistance at this level. You can see this region I've marked over here. If market starts breaking above this region, then I'll be very dead wrong on this one. I quickly come out of this one. I won't even fight with the markets. I let it be as it is, because market can really continue that trend formation I was showing you. But if we're able to get a correction, expect market to correct back to this level before we go further up. So I shared this with the premium group. If you're in the premium group with us, this is what I was explaining, and I said I'll explain in the chat room today, and that's what I'm expecting. So Not a very good advisable trade to take, but it's quite a good one to take some risk on if you're not risking too much. Less than 1%, 0.5% can be a good trade on that one. So that's all I have for you guys today. I won't do much. I'll leave the floor to Ken, and he'll show you the rest of the pairs he's looking at. I hope you've enjoyed that analysis, and I hope you're learning from it, because at the end of the day, if I'm not there, you can be able to analyze for yourself. So that's it from me. I see someone asking me to analyze USD CHF. Apologies for that. I cannot do that. I'll be doing a lot of guesswork. I've never analyzed USD CHF, US dollar, Swiss franc. So maybe some other time, but I don't have any analysis on that, and I don't like forcing trades or forcing analysis. So that's it from me, and I want to give you the best analysis. So it's not just all guesswork. I want to give you the best analysis as well. So that's it from me. I'll leave the floor to Ken, and I'll see you on Friday.
So hi traders, hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a wonderful week as the markets are moving. So it's on Wednesday, like Caleb said, a recap for what's happening in the market. So on Monday I shared a couple of setups. Some worked out, some failed. So markets really moved the other side. But currently I have around 3 trades running. So I have shorts on GBP USD, I have shorts on the Dow, and I have shorts on gold. So I'll mainly focus on those 3 markets. Maybe I'll look at 4 markets. I'll look at gold, I'll look at oil, I'll look at GBP USD, and probably I'll expound more on what Caleb was looking at on the Dow. So Caleb was looking at the Dow. He talked about several things. I'll probably expound more on what he was talking about. So I'll start off with gold, which is my favorite pair. So that's my favorite asset. Most of my money I've made from gold. And then I'll look at oil, I'll look at GBP USD. Finally, I'll clear up with the Dow, which I think is at the brinks of a big collapse. I think there's a very big chance that stocks could be going down. So if you do your research, you understand the fundamentals, there's a very high chance that American stocks are overvalued. And when that's the case, as much as the bubble has not popped, we are probably likely to see a 10%, 15% correction in most of these stocks before the trend continues, or rather before the bubble continues developing. Because again, for the trend to completely reverse, we need a change in fundamentals, and I don't think that is happening anytime soon. Actually, that was some of the message that we got from the Fed yesterday. So there's no change in fundamentals. There's still a lot that needs to be done, but the risks are getting elevated to the upside. So I think there's a very high chance we'll get a correction, and I'll show you technically why I think the markets will be going down and how I'm positioned for that move if it happens. So let me just share my screen. So I'll start off with gold. So gold is one of the best things that you can be trading if you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, again, it's a very dangerous asset. So I feel like you need to develop some expertise before you trade it. But anyway, so I'll start off from the daily chart. This is the daily chart. So this pattern is still information. From the big picture perspective, I still think there's a very high chance that this market will come back down at least to 1700. There are very many confluences aligning for this move to come back down here, including this flag formation, this channel formation. It's a major level. The S3 level is aligning for that level. So there's a very high chance gold could come back down to 1725, 1715, 1700 ultimately. But on the 4-hour chart, I have something quite different. So I have a short position currently running, and I'll explain to you why. But I think we could also get this move back to 1825, a liquidity level in line with this bounce of this channel. So a third bounce of this channel, then we could probably get a continuation to the downside 1750. However, we need to be cautious of this daily chart level 1810. So I think markets could also fail to go above 1810, and we could get this continuation back down to 1700. So I have a small position because I like building positions if they are working out, and if they are not working out, again, to eliminate the losses, I tend to get out of the market very quickly. So if you look at it from a 1-hour perspective, again, you discover that this was a pullback to 78.6 retracement, and I've shown you the picture on the daily chart. So I don't think you should obviously discount all this information. I think there's a lot that you can look at from this perspective. So if the markets can manage to stay below 1815, 1810, 1817 on a daily perspective, I think we could see these markets again fall back down. But I would need a confirmation by a break of 1800 and a continuation, and probably even a break of 1790 and a good continuation to the downside. If we get a break of 1790, I think there's a very, very high chance markets will just collapse. But as long as you're trading in these levels, then I think there's a high chance we could visit 1825 and probably even 1830. I wouldn't be surprised by such a move, and I think I'd be more willing actually to short it at the 1825, 1830 level. So that's my outlook on gold. Oil, I don't have much of an outlook on this market, because if I look at it from a weekly perspective, then there's a high chance that this market could still come back to 63, 63.5, which was visited some time back, I think on Monday. From a daily chart perspective, no significant pattern to at least signal for me a short. So we are currently hanging in no man's land, and I don't like trades which are hanging. If I go back down to the 4-hour setup again, you can see clearly I have a channel, but you're not at the top, you're not at the bottom, we're just in the center of the channel. So I don't have much of a setup here, but I'm sure I'm looking for a collapse. I think I wouldn't be willing to buy despite me placing a risk reward ratio for a buy setup. I think this market could ultimately rocket to 63.5 before the end of the week, but I wouldn't be willing to participate in such a move. I think this market is overvalued at the moment, so buying at such levels, as much as the trade may work out, may not prove to be a strategic decisions, and I'm concerned with making strategic decisions, not just making money. So if I look at it from that perspective, I'm looking for a collapse, but I'm still trying to time it. So if you have tried timing a top, you may discover that it's a very, very hard task. There are very, very many times where you'll be wrong, and once you do that, you learn that it's better to be patient. Once it starts collapsing, you can come in once the corrections come in place, because obviously the corrections will come. But looking at it from this perspective, honestly, I don't have anything clear that I can share with you, rather a setup that I can pinpoint. But I think there's a high chance you could get this move back to 63.5. If we get to this level, I'd be willing to risk some money, looking for a collapse downwards. But till then, I'm out of this one. I'm just watching. So GBP USD also quite interesting. So yesterday I was looking at it from a daily perspective, and I thought probably we could get a short position for some, at least a minor correction to the 1.4 level, not actually very far, but you can see clearly markets opened and we had some big move to the upside, coming close to 1.4250, which is a major level on this market. So I still think this market could ultimately go back to that level, but if you look at it from a 4-hour perspective, then you discover that we're getting a signal at least at this level, the 1.4150 level for 180. So I thought we could probably get a correction back down to 1.4, and I think London has just started a minute into London trading, so I'm really keen into understanding how this market will trade during this session. If we can manage to come back trading below these prices, then we could see a continuation with a collapse back to here. But if markets don't sustain that, then you could see this move coming back here, then the collapse could start from the 1.425 level. So I have a small position again on this one, just watching to see what will happen in this market. My main trade, I think, is the Dow. So I think the Dow is at the brinks of a collapse. Looking at it from a weekly perspective, just expounding on what Caleb talked about. Yes, we are trading at the R1 level, a magnet trade, a possible magnet trade. I think we could see this market could go back down to 26,000, 26,500, about 6,000 points collapse. And some of these trades can be really fast. So you need to be very keen on some of these moves. Looking at it from a daily chart perspective, I also have this sort of a wedge-like formation, but mine is not as accurate as Caleb's, or rather mine has a different perspective. So mine didn't start from the bottom. I started my outlook from this level, the second level, and I think we have this third level. So for the last, I think, 1 week, you can see the markets have not done anything much, so we've just been consolidating. And I think when that's the case, after the consolidation is over, we could see this collapse back to 30,300, a straight leg of about 1,000 pips collapse, very possible. If you look at the Nasdaq, we've already gotten that move back to fair value, and I just think this one is lagging what is happening on the Nasdaq. So this is a very high probable trade for me. On the 4-hour chart, I have, yesterday I was actually short on this one, made about $100, then exited very quickly once it started moving back up higher. And now I'm looking for this move back to this level, 31,000 first, then probably could even get, if we can manage to close below 31,250, I think ultimately this market could collapse to 30,250, 30,000 level. I wouldn't be very surprised if we get this move. To the upside, I think I'd want to see a close above 31,600, 31,670, 700 for me to at least think of changing my idea. But for now, this consolidation to me signals a lot of bearish momentum. So if I just go back down to the hourly chart to show you what I'm looking at, and see clearly, like yesterday Caleb said, we had a collapse, a correction. I think the correction was capped by the 78.6 retracement level. So if you just look at it, we were capped by this level, 78.6. I think these markets could come back down to 31,000, 30,900 ultimately. But we're just keen. Let's watch what will happen. Let's see how the markets will trade, and then we can know how to position ourselves. So I think I'll stop there. I'll see you guys next time. So London has just started, markets are moving. Let's see how the markets will move. The first hour is often very confusing, so giving the market some time to settle and then you can make your decisions will prove to be a valuable habit in this game. So I think I'll stop there. I'll see you guys next time on Friday. I don't think I'm the one who will be doing the Zoom session on Friday, so probably I'll catch up with you guys on Monday. Peace. Make money, don't lose money in the markets. If you lose money, you don't know how to play this game. Learn to play this game and make money.